Hello and welcome back to another session where we are going to share 3-step formula to deliver a great presentation. The 3-step formula that we are going to discuss today is also known as Universal Speech Outline, which has been used in public speaking classes for decades. If you are a new viewer, please subscribe to TargetOne channel as we got new videos every week. Yeah, so is anyone familiar with this phrase? It's not rocket science, which basically means the subject under discussion isn't difficult to understand. So what I'm going to share today won't be rocket science. However, this would help you to deliver your presentation in an efficient and memorable way. 80% of the presentation or demonstrations fail because we somehow lack to communicate the amount of work that's done or fail to have a structure in place while presenting. The techniques that I'm going to share today can be used in any scenarios. Say whenever you need to make a presentation long or short, or you want people to remember. So these are the 3 steps that I will be covering. These are dead simple, and with practice you can master how to present and how to present a complicated stuff. So you start by informing the audience by telling them what you're going to tell them and finally tell them what you just told them. I will give you a minute to digest that because I didn't get that first time either. So I'm going to talk about the beginning, then the middle and the end section. Now talking about step 1, that is the beginning. This is your opener in which you lay out why you're speaking to the audience. A common mistake that the presenters make is that they assume that everybody is completely aware and up to speed with the background to the topic. You need to remind your audience with not going into massive details. However, you need to give them a background. For example, you can say this was the scenario or this was the problem faced, and we can look at potential alternatives, or you can run through them quickly. For example, the problem was to perform data cleanup in an demo environment, and your customer followed an approach which was time consuming and labor intensive, which wasn't the best solution. And then you can talk about your proposed solution, about how you would suggest doing it in a cost effective way. Maybe you can automate the system to perform the cleanup, or maybe you can just show a screenshot and say I'm going to demo this next. So basically you are telling them what you are about to tell them. Also, you can inform what the audience are not going to see so that people are not disappointed. Say for example, we are going to look at a system, but that is just a mock-up. So this is important and critical that we establish a context, provide a background, and don't forget your audience might be attending your presentation after multiple meetings. And there is no harm in reminding your audience about the situation and why we did what we did. Now speaking about step 2, that is the middle section, where we are going to talk about what we did in detail. So the middle section is to tell them. So it's crucial to keep a comfortable pace and pause occasionally if required. Don't just speed read. Before you do something, tell the audience what you are going to do. What I'm trying to say here is, if your presentation is being recorded, it should be in a way that even the blind can understand. For example, you can say, I'm going to click on OK button, and this is what is going to happen. So that's the level we should be explaining it in order for everybody to understand what is going to be done, what's being done, then the outcome. Explain stuff, right? Another important thing is don't allow people to rabbit hole you during the presentation. What that means is there is a possibility that your boss or any other attendee may jump in and start talking on a related topic for a long time, which would further reduce your time to complete the presentation, and then you might end up skipping important things at the end or may overrun your scheduled time, or there may be a possibility you may lose your rhythm, right? There is a possibility that there are multiple presenters and you need to ensure that you give them sufficient time. So you could say to your boss or the attendee that that's a very interesting point. Should we take a note of that and have a follow-up session? Right? The basic principle whenever you're doing a demo is to have a backup. Now that could be a slide deck or a recording if things go wrong. So basically you don't want to fall into a situation where things are broken while presenting and you feel embarrassed. Now talking about step 3, that is the end section. So the end is to summarize what we discussed and find out if you have given the audience the information they need. This is the time to tell them what you just told them. Also an opportunity for you to highlight the success of your current work and to call out of any known limitations. Say for example, you may have used a third-party application to run your solution in order to save X amount of time. So you can highlight its limitation as every system does. Tell them what's coming up next, what you are going to do next with the solution proposed. Ask if there is any question, and if you are going to hand over to another person, briefly introduce the person and the subject. So that's not rocket science, and it's a basic approach to inform the audience what we are going to see and why, then informing them and telling them what you just did. I recommend you try it next time when you have a presentation or a speech to deliver on a topic. Use this technique and you would save time. Also ensure that your audience remember your message. This brings to the end of this session. Thank you so much for your valuable time. You can become a member by subscribing to TargetOne channel. We got new videos every week, so make sure you subscribe. Have a wonderful day ahead and wish you success.